The quiet in this apartment is deafening now. It was never like this before. There was always laughter music, the gentle hum of our shared life. Now there is just silence, a cold, heavy blanket that smothers every memory. I remember when I first met Sam. It feels like a lifetime ago, but it also feels like yesterday. We were so young, so full of dreams. Our connection was instant, electric, magnetic. We spent hours talking about everything and nothing. We built our world brick by brick with promises and trust, and endless late-night conversations that stretched into the early hours of the morning. We promised forever. That word echoes in this empty space, now mocking me. Forever. What a fragile thing that turned out to be. What a lie I turned it into. Our relationship was not perfect. No relationship ever is. There were arguments, there were disagreements, but there was always a foundation of respect and love. Or so I thought. Maybe that foundation was crumbling long before I truly noticed it. Perhaps the slow erosion began with the small things, the unspoken resentments, the assumptions that grew into expectations, the routines that became ruts instead of comforts. We stopped asking each other about our dreams. We stopped actively listening. We just existed alongside each other, assuming the love would always be enough. Maybe I was too busy looking elsewhere for something new, something shiny, something that would distract me from the slow, creeping boredom that had started to settle in. It was a subtle shift, a gradual turning away. Sam was still there, still loving, still committed, still trying to connect in ways I now recognize were desperate attempts. But I started to see Sam as predictable, as comfortable as part of the background of my life. And that was my first mistake, a profound and devastating one. To take someone so precious, so completely for granted, to stop watering the garden we had both so carefully planted and nurtured. Then Jamie entered my life. It was at a work event, a networking mixer full of polite smiles and forced conversations. Jamie was different. Jamie had an energy, a spark, a quick wit that instantly drew me in. We talked about work at first, then about hobbies, then about deeper things. There was an ease, a spontaneity, a thrilling newness that I had not felt in years. It was intoxicating. It was dangerous. And I knew it. Every fiber of my being screamed at me to step back, to remember Sam, to remember our life, our history, our shared future. But the pull was too strong. The desire for novelty, for that intoxicating rush of being wanted by someone new, was overwhelming. I told myself it was harmless. Just friends. Just conversation. A little flirtation to make life more interesting. A little secret to keep just for myself, a harmless indulgence. My conscience whispered warnings, but I shoved them down deep, ignoring the growing unease. The little secret grew. The conversations turned into texts late at night, then secret coffee dates, then stolen moments in out-of-the-way places. Each step felt like a leap into the unknown, a thrill mixed with a growing knot of guilt in my stomach. I was living a double life. At home, I was the devoted partner sharing meals, watching movies, planning our future. Outside, I was a different person, someone bold, someone reckless, someone completely selfish. My days were a careful choreography of lies and evasions. My phone was a weapon, a tool for deception. I became an expert at looking innocent, at feigning fatigue, at inventing plausible excuses for my absences. The weight of it all was crushing the fear of discovery. A constant low thrum beneath the surface. But the brief moments with Jamie offered a perverse kind of escape. It was an escape from my guilt, from my responsibilities, from the person I was supposed to be. It was a temporary reprieve from the gnawing emptiness I felt inside myself. I remember the first time it happened, the crossing of the line. It was after one of our secret dinners. The air was thick with unspoken desire. The words we exchanged were loaded with meaning. Jamie leaned in, and I did not pull away. The kiss was electrifying, illicit, forbidden. In that moment, the world narrowed to just Jamie and me. Sam, our life, our promises, all vanished into the background, a distant hum. Afterwards, a wave of nausea hit me. What have I done? The question echoed in my mind, a terrifying siren. The immediate rush of adrenaline subsided, leaving behind a cold, bitter taste of regret and self-loathing. But the thrill, the novelty, the feeling of being desired in a way I had somehow convinced myself Sam no longer desired me was addictive. I rationalized it. It was just one time, it was a mistake, I would stop, I would confess, I would fix it, but I did not. The pattern was set. The betrayal became a habit, a secret burden I carried with increasing difficulty. Each time it happened, the guilt deepened, but so did the detachment. I was slowly losing myself. My behavior changed profoundly. I was distant with Sam, irritable, easily annoyed. I picked fights over trivial things, anything to create a space for my deceit to breathe. I convinced myself that if Sam was angry, if Sam was distant, then my actions were somehow less wrong, somehow justified. It was a pathetic excuse, a self-serving delusion, a desperate attempt to shift the blame. Sam noticed, of course. Sam asked if everything was all right, if I was happy, if there was something wrong with us. Sam tried to talk to me to understand. I lied. I looked Sam in the eye and spun elaborate tales of work stress, of exhaustion, of feeling overwhelmed. Sam believed me because Sam loved me and trusted me implicitly. That trust was a sacred thing, a gift. I was tearing to shreds with every lie, every stolen touch, every secret message. The guilt became a constant companion, a shadow that followed me everywhere. It ate away at my conscience, it chipped away at my soul, but it was never strong enough to make me stop. Not then. The fear of confrontation, the fear of hurting Sam, the fear of losing the thrill kept me trapped in my web of lies. The end came not with a bang, but with a whisper that turned into a scream. I was careless. I left my phone unlocked on the kitchen counter while I went to fetch a drink. A message from Jamie popped up, a message that left no room for doubt, no room for explanation. A pet name, a suggestive comment, a plan for an upcoming meeting. Sam saw it. I walked back into the living room to find Sam sitting there, phone in hand, face pale, eyes wide with shock and hurt. The air was thick with unspoken accusations. The color had drained from Sam's face, leaving behind a ghastly pallor. Sam's hand trembled as the phone was slowly put down. I knew instantly. My heart sank a lead weight in my chest. My carefully constructed world of lies shattered around me. There was no denying it, no explaining it away. The truth was laid bare, ugly, raw, devastating. The silence that followed was worse than any shouting. Sam looked at me with an expression I will never forget. It was not anger at first. It was pure, agonizing disbelief, like seeing a stranger where a loved one used to be. The betrayal was etched onto Sam's features, a wound appearing before my very eyes. Then the questions came, a torrent of them. When, how often, who, how could I have done this? Each question was a stab, a reminder of the depth of my cruelty, of the trust I had so wantonly abused. I tried to explain, to apologize, to beg for forgiveness, but the words were hollow even to my own ears. They felt inadequate, pathetic. How do you explain away a betrayal of that magnitude? How do you patch a hole that big in someone's heart? How do you repair something you deliberately broke? Sam broke down then. The tears flowed freely, tears of pain, tears of anger, tears of a love that had been shattered beyond repair. Sam's cries tore through me, a sound I will carry for the rest of my life. And I just stood there, helpless, useless, a destroyer of dreams. The arguments that followed were brutal, raw, filled with accusations and recriminations. Sam felt foolish, naive, betrayed. Sam felt that our entire shared history, our entire relationship, had been a lie, a cruel, elaborate joke. And in many ways it had. The trust was gone. It was not just about the physical act, it was about the deceit, the secrecy, the emotional abandonment. It was about choosing someone else over the person I had promised my life to, over the person who had given me their whole heart. There was no coming back from it. We tried for a while, for a painful, agonizing few weeks. But the ghost of my betrayal hung heavy in the air between us, a suffocating presence. Every touch felt tainted, every conversation strained, every glance filled with suspicion and hurt. Sam could not look at me without seeing the lies the other person, the broken promises. And I could not look at Sam without seeing the pain I had caused, the trust I had destroyed. The love was still there,